I say good morning. I'm Cara Burnham, the Director of Education for Elevate Northeast, and today we are talking to Aja Atwood of Cara Technologies. Can you just, before we get into this, just give me a little bit of background on your involvement in the cannabis space?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Cara. My name is Aja. I'm the CEO and one of two co-founders at Cara Technologies. We're a company that has designed a way to automatically train tall plants to grow sideways, tall cannabis plants, like your mother plants. But I got into the space really back in 2015, trying to figure out where was my niche in this industry as an engineer, but as also an advocate, a medical patient, and a grower. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of the cannabis plant. Believe that it should be treated like every other plant that we grow, and am here to try to promote its growth and health for others. So that's me.
Awesome. I'm really excited to talk about Maya Angelou today.
Yeah, me too. Me too. The way that I met her or knew about or was introduced to Maya was during a speech. A friend of mine, when I was in my 20s, early 20s, like 22, a good friend of mine decided, let's go see Maya Angelou speak. She's coming to Boston. Let's go see her speak. And it was a birthday present. She goes, I'm going to buy you tickets to go see her. This is not typical 22-year-old behavior for me. Just to I want to be clear. Like, this isn't like that was what I was normally doing. This was kind of one of our things of let's be an adult, for a day or two. So we decided to do it. And she came to the stage with such presence. It was like, she was so grand, and she's grand in stature too. Like, she's, a tall woman. And a lot of her features are strong. She's just got a lot of strength to her from a physical perspective, but even from an energy perspective, like she was just standing on that stage. And there's one line that she says where she goes, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. You could feel it coming off of her.
Yeah.
And and I remember watching her, and I was like, wow, this woman's got a lot to show me today. So I was very locked in on her speech and the talk that day, and came away with it thinking, wow, this woman has gotten to the point in her life where she is just released judgment and forgiveness, where she's just like, I can't carry judgments. People are people. Nothing is black and white, evil, good. It's all like yin and yang. Like it all makes sense if you just allow yourself to allow. She just had a lot of love to her. So when I read this story about her first interaction with marijuana and the context to it all, it definitely was like, whoa, I did not know that this was part of her life, that this was part of her life experience.
Yeah, it seems like I'm excited to hear about it, but we should do our intro.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I was just going already, sorry.
I know, it's so easy to start talking.
Oh, one quick question before we...
Oh, yeah.
One quick question. Did you want me to smoke? Was that part? I know you asked. Okay.
I mean, if you want to. I mean, I would hope you would. I was going to say, what are you smoking?
This is Canatonic, homegrown.
Oh, that would put me to sleep, girl.
No, not me.
Lemon skunk and some frank. That looks weird in this light. It's a lot greener than it looks in that shot. I'll take a picture of it.
What are you looking at?
Lemon skunk.
Huh?
Lemon skunk.
Oh, lemon skunk. Oh no, sorry, I can't see it. No. All I see is your little screen, and it's really hard to see it.
Oh, I'm on my computer.
I got it. I see it now. I switched the screen. Lemon skunk. Yeah, I have a little Congo mixed in here too from a previous grind, so I'm just gonna mix the two.
Talking about Maya Angelou today.
Yes, we are.
So just let's say somebody who doesn't know a lot about Maya Angelou. She was a Nobel Peace Prize winner. She, like you were just noted, she spoke at inaugurations or an inauguration. Poet, an author, and a poet.
Yep, a dancer, an actress.
Okay.
Yep, she's a dancer, actress, an activist, really good friends with James Baldwin, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King.
What was her birth year?
1928.
1928, okay.
Yeah, and I just looked that up, so it's not. Don't go too far in like the Maya Angelou like details. Yeah.
Oh, and I also, on a side note, I love what you're doing with your hair. I don't know if there's a name for it, but I like the shape, and I like the added texture, like right at the top crown area. I'm like a fan.
It's called minimalism.
My hair grows.
But no, but I don't do a lot to it. Like I put very limited like products in it. I do a mist like of apple cider vinegar and water. And that helps with like a pH type of balance for my hair. And then I use natural oils. You know, so that's it. Like I don't do a lot to it. So I know why the caged bird sings, probably in high school, and then again maybe in my like later 20s, probably after I went to see her speak. And then when she got into like, but so this book, the one that I'm reading now, hold on, her second memoir talks about more of her like shenanigans after. You know, the first one is more like her growing up experiences when she was a preteen, and then this one, Gathered Together in My Name, talks at the beginning, at least the first half, about her experiences after I Know Why a Caged Bird Sings. So it's more along like her like 16 years old to getting into dancing. Like I'm just now getting into when she's starting to learn, get into dancing again. So yeah, she's got a very, very, very long, complex history and story. So if anybody wants to, if this story piques anyone's interest to dig into her more.
And it took you a little bit of time to find a cannabis story about Maya Angelou.
Yes, yeah, Cara, thank you. You helped me with that. Yeah, because I didn't. When you asked the question about who I wanted to do for this talk or this, storytelling series, which I thought was an awesome idea, and I jumped at the opportunity to do it. I immediately thought about Maya, but I was like, shoot, I don't know if she has a cannabis story. So I got to figure that out. I know that I knew of her history before of like hanging out with doing some activism, and I knew that she was a dancer and kind of into the jazz scene. So I was like, she probably has, but I don't know if there's like anything that I can refer to. And then you did some searching and found it. And in her second memoir, she talks about it very like plainly about her experiences with marijuana. So yeah, thank you.
Well, I didn't read the story, so I'm excited to hear it for the first time with probably a lot of other people, because this is definitely the teaser I got earlier today. This is going to come out of left field for a lot of people.
It is, and I think I'll try to end it again with how she got to her. This is Maya she was born in 1928, and this story takes place in like 1944, 1945. So you're still in the mid 40s. I have to do a little bit of setting the context of just the time frame so that you understand how, like, why this story wound up going in the direction that it winds up going in. But she just left Stamps, Arkansas, where she grew up, and she goes out to California. I think she's in San Francisco, in the 40s. So you still had Jim Crow and a lot of Black people leaving the South and kind of fleeing out West to like just, get to a point where you could feel a little bit safe and make a life for yourself. Not to say that there weren't issues in California, but they weren't as heavy. And she winds up working as a waitress while she's there. And two women come into the restaurant where she works. And she notices that no one interacts with them much, and they kind of dress the same, and they only talk to each other, and but they also like to talk to her. So she's the only person in the restaurant that they actually will really talk to. So she waits on them, they become friendly, and they invite her over to the house for dinner. She said, they ask her, come over to the house, we want to have you over for dinner. So she, at this point, kind of has already like picked up the fact that they're probably lesbians. She is indifferent. I won't say indifferent, maybe she's not intimidated by it. She just kind of is like, she does share that maybe at the age of 15, she, as a lot of people do, questioned her sexuality, came up with the firm answer of, no, I'm straight. And became kind of just indifferent to the idea of homosexuality. Like she kind of thought it was a waste of time, that people put more energy there than they do on other things. So she was intrigued, but she wanted to also kind of set her limitations, her limits. So she says to them, I'll come over for dinner, but I just want to let you know, I don't go that way. Like, that's not what I'm about. And she notices right after she says it to them that their faces are just deflated. Like, they're just kind of like, okay, why would you say that? And she's like, well, I just wanted to kind of let you know. And and so she goes, but write down your address and I'll come over on Sunday. Now, funny thing is, they actually made a point to come over to do this on Sunday versus Saturday after church. So they all went to church. And then later that afternoon, they decided to meet up for dinner. So Maya leaves her. She also has a son at this point too, just to also set that context. She has a son. I think she was pregnant at the age of 15. She's got her son, Guy, or maybe 16. She's got her son, his name is Guy, with her. She's in California by herself working.
I'm sorry, did you say God?
Guy, G-U-Y, yep.
Oh,
Guy.
I thought you said God, G-O-D, and I was like, wow.
Yeah. I didn't know that. No. Yeah, all good. No, his name's Guy. And he actually did a really good documentary, not documentary, but I saw a documentary where he speaks about his mother and shares her story. And go on YouTube, you'll find it. It's awesome. So she has him. So she's kind of like out there trying to like make it on her own. Like, she doesn't have like parents with her. She's completely on her own with her son working at this restaurant. These two women invite her to come over. She kind of insults them a little bit, but she's interested, and she wants to experience going out for dinner and eating for free. So she goes, and she gets there, and when the woman opens the door, she can tell by the look on the face that they're still a little bit like burnt by the comment, but they welcome her in. She could tell they felt a little nervous, but while they're waiting for dinner to be made, they they actually kiss in front of her. And it was almost kind of like they kissed, and then they looked at her like, what do you got to say about that? So it was almost kind of like yeah, you were right, we are, and now what? You're in our house, smoke, she hadn't smoked yet. So this is before they had offered her, any grifa, they call it grifa, G-R-I-F-A, grifa. So she's sitting on the couch, and they're getting to know each other, and she's looking around, and she notices like a shit ton of furniture, not a lot of stuff on the walls, not a lot of books, but just like accumulating stuff. And she goes, what do you guys do, for work? And they say, we make our money lying right here on our backs. Like, we turn tricks. That's out of their words. Nowadays, we would say sex workers. So they tell her that they turn tricks. They probably do it like 3 nights a week, where they'll do 1 trick a piece. They are together. They live together, but this is how they make their money. And she's taking all that in, and she's like, wow, okay, so now I've got lesbians that turn tricks. This is getting very interesting. So they also share with her that their landlord wants to kick them out. That he found out he has some issues with their sexuality, and he wants to kick them out. So she's at this point in the story, she's there. She's not intimidated, but she's a little bit irritated by the fact that they're still kind of trying to test her, she feels, by kissing in front of her. They offer her some marijuana right before they eat. Like I said, they call it grifa, and she had never smoked before, never, only smoked cigarettes. So she decides. So she was like, yeah, she goes, I've already made it this far down this storyline. I'm going for it. So she indulges them, takes a few hits, and I can read her description of her experience because I don't want to, mess it up. So real quick before I get into her experience, so she does cough when she takes it for the first time, as a lot of people do. I still cough. I actually cough on purpose. I feel like it helps. But she coughs, and they laugh at her, and she takes that as an affront as well. So she's not really feeling them. She's still enjoying the experience, and they are kind of funny from time to time. So she enjoys their humor, but I don't know that she's feeling them. But she starts to feel the marijuana. So she says that she coughed and gagging, and she says those silly bitches laugh. So this is this is kind of her mentality right now where she is. But then she says, she takes another hit. Here it is. And I think I'm going to take a hit before I read it.
I encourage that kind of behavior around here.
I feel like sometimes. Okay, here we go.
Another lady for the bowl. I appreciate that.
Simplicity.
It's just easy.
It is. I told a friend of mine once when back when I think I was still playing tackle football or something at the time. We were hanging out, and she goes, why don't you roll joints? It's like, it's more work. It just takes too much. I'm not trying to be cool. I'm just trying
to just trying to get high.
We just finished playing a really hard game. I'm trying to get my body to not feel right now. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. So
that's a pretty bowl too. Nice. Oh, that's pretty. You know what it looks like to me in the camera? It looks like a giraffe pattern.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's really pretty.
All right. Now, Clementine. So she says, I'm reading from her memoir now. Before the cough stopped shaking me, I had decided I would get even with them. So she had already gotten into this state of mind where she was pissed off about it. I reached again for the marijuana. The food was the best I'd ever tasted. Every morsel was an experience of sheer delight. I lost myself in a haze of sensual pleasure, enjoying not only the taste, but the feel of the food in my mouth, the smells, and the sound of my jaws chewing. They say, she's got a buzz. That's her third helping. I looked up to see the two women looking at me and laughing. So this is strange when you have to, when you're trying to enjoy cannabis with people that you don't feel so comfortable with. But I think it still provided at least a level of relief so that she could still go through the rest of the night or the dinner with them, because she winds up after that, they have dinner, she enjoys it, she's starting to feel a little bit of a buzz, and they put some music on and they say, let's start dancing. So Maya's a dancer, trained before that. Like she had some lessons in Stamps, Arkansas, and was trying to figure out a way that she could potentially get into it again. And she's already buzzed, so she decides to start dancing by herself. And then one of them come in and decide that they want to dance with her, and she again feels like that's an affront. That's just it's past her limit. So she gets pissed again and decides that she's going to go into the bathroom and think about a plan of how she can get the best of them to some degree. And she goes into the bathroom and she comes up with this idea. Now, we do know that marijuana will do that. It helps you with creativity. And despite whether or not your intention is going in a good or a bad place, it's going to help you get there. So it's fuel. So she decides that her intention is to get even with them. So up comes an idea, a plan on how she can get the better of them. They had told her the story before about how they were about to get kicked out of their home. The landlord didn't want them there. So she decides that they like money. They like to accumulate a lot of things. Let's figure out how I can make money off of them because they like money so much. So she decides, she comes back out of the bathroom and she goes, all right, ladies, I have an idea. How about I'll rent your apartment. So we'll put it under my name. I'll pay the bills. I'll pay the gas. And you ladies can continue to turn your tricks. And I will find the Johns for you. Now, the Johns is a term that's also, for the people that she's bringing in, mostly white males, that they would get taxi drivers to identify them, and they would split some of the profit with the taxi driver to bring them to the home, and then the women would perform the trick, and then they would split half of it with Maya. So Maya would get some of the money, they would get some of the money, the taxi driver would get some of the money, and she would put her name on the building. And that is how she made a good amount of money for about maybe 6 to 9 months, just working at the restaurant. So she didn't do any of it herself, but she managed it, she oversaw it, she collected the money, and she basically just ran it. So otherwise known as a pimp.
Yeah, so that's where you really throw me for a loop, because such an accomplished, world-renowned poet, Nobel Peace Prize winner, just strikes me as odd that she would also have been a pimp for some amount of time.
I think it's a great reminder. To people that you don't know people's story. Like, you don't know how people got to where they are. You only know what we see in the public. And not to say, and again, because my first introduction to Maya, when I met her, is she gave me the feeling of like, no judgment. Like, I don't know that Maya is the same Maya of, obviously she's not. That's not the same Maya. She's had so many other experiences past this. Like, we haven't even really like dug into what she's been doing. So I think she likes to experience the world, and through those experiences, it gave her a good understanding of how to just like, go with it, and not to have judgment on people, because you really never know the whole story. You don't know the whole context of how they got to where they are, etc. So, yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool story. She does enjoy marijuana again, though.
She does. I was just going to ask, does she continue to consume marijuana on a regular basis or intermittently?
Not so much with them, because it became more of a professional relationship. And but she does wind up, that comes to an abrupt end. I'll let people read it for themselves. And she winds up having to go back to Stamps, Arkansas, and she runs into her brother.
Everyone's got a story, man. Everyone's got a story.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know, Cara.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. So I guess she enjoyed it. Sounds like she got like some sort of emotional benefit from using it. Seems it helps calm her down, relax her.
Yeah. I think the first experience was more that creative like burst where she got this idea that unfortunately wasn't the best idea, but it was an idea. And and it did help her to survive for 9 months. So I guess maybe some people would say it was a good idea. But,
if I had to defend, and I'm not a lawyer, but if I had to defend her in court, I mean, they were already doing it.
She simply just made the process a little easier for them.
Yeah, she's like a business operator.
Yeah. That's exactly what she was, a business operator. Yeah.
And everybody made more money.
Yeah. So I feel like she used it for that, but then later on she came back to it when she needed it more for support.
Oh, okay. So we should read these books.
Yeah.
Memoirs.
Definitely one. It's gathered together in my name. I consider it to be like street entrepreneurialism. And I think often, often we kind of try to forget that she's an entrepreneur. Like we said, she turned herself into an operator. And when when there's lack, people are unfortunately have, narrow, the decisions are narrow. We only like, what can I sell? I can't sell this, I can't sell that, I can sell myself.
Mm-hmm.
So when you don't have a lot of decisions, and you don't have a lot of options, and you don't have a lot of privileges, that's what winds up happening. But yeah, I try not to judge it one way or the other. It was to me, it's an experience that she had with cannabis that was, in my opinion, kind of comical.
I have full confidence in this.
All right, good. Well, thank you.